Yeah, the audio's on, checking audio. So they should be able to.
How's it started, Jen?
Maybe a lot of that. But I've seen them giving you a. What's the boss? It's like a stone, whiskey stone. Freeze it. Nice. And that way it doesn't melt in the whiskey. That's the same thing. Well, I mean, you put in.
Might as well. We're gonna go ahead and call the budget meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock
Oh, really?
on September 8th, 2025. So can we all stand for the pledge of allegiance?
I missed that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag, the United States of America.
and
to the republic
Under God.
Okay, thank you. Let the record reflect that all the commissioners are in attendance with the exception of Janet. Is Janet online or not?
No, she's not.
Okay. She's not. So Janet is not.
Oh, Janet, are you here? No, I don't think that was her.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she,
And for those folks who are online, if you could just mute your mics, that would be helpful as we conduct the meeting. There will be a chance for public comment at the appropriate time of the agenda.
Can you hear me? Better? Usually my voice carries pretty well, but I would certainly use this.
So I don't know, do you just want to take it? We have a public hearing tonight. The purpose of the meeting is to adopt the budget or amend the budget on first hearing tonight. And it's announcing the maximum millage rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 at 5.56 mils, which is $5.56 for each $1,000 of assessed property within the town of Jupiter and Collin, which is greater than the rollback rate of 5.1816 mils by 7.3 percentage points. We're also gonna have a discussion on the increased millage over the rollback rate. And then we're gonna have public comment and questions, and then we're going to vote.
Yeah.
So with that, I will turn it over to our town manager, who is accompanied tonight by our finance director, if you will, our outside finance director. So I'll go ahead and throw it over to you two. We have approximately 30 minutes tonight for this hearing, and then we're gonna go to our regularly scheduled commission workshop or commission meeting at 6:30 p.m. So, Madam Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Commission, residents of JIC. As the mayor mentioned, I have Yvonne Claiborne here with me. I will go through the presentation, and between the two of us, we hope to answer all of your questions, and then we'll go over the next steps.
And Heidi, we've had 2 budget workshops on this budget already, correct? And can you just remind everybody when those were?
Sure, they're in the presentation, so let me get to that page.
Okay, all right, you're gonna go through it.
Yes,
Okay.
you got it. So this is our first reading or our first hearing. We will have our second hearing next Monday. If you all recall, we met in April and came up with our strategic priorities. From that meeting, I also crafted a vision and mission statement. This is important because it is these priorities that guided the building of this year's budget. So Florida statute, chapter 200.065 is what leads our, budget process. Also, the town charter says section 3.02 requires the town manager to put together the budget. As the mayor was referencing, we had 2 budget workshops and we had the strategic priorities workshop, which I think is important to pull into that time frame. We met July 9th, July 28th. We also had a discussion at the special town commission meeting on August 25th about the budget. We are here at September 8th for the first budget hearing. This, like I said, is followed by final on September 15th. We're required to notify the tax collector of our final millage rate adoption on September 30th, and our new fiscal year begins October 1st. So just to go over a little bit about the town and how we got here with this year's budget. On the screen, you can see a 1-year snapshot of real estate values here in town. You can see over the last few months that they have started to spike again over this year. The median over the last 12 months was 4.7 million. And it ended in July at 6.8, 6.9 million. So that is our median real estate value. That's not necessarily our home value, but those are from the sales. As you can also see on this screen, since 2022, our budget has increased significantly due to the assessed property value in the town. On the screen highlighted in the right-hand side is this year's summary budget. We have total revenues of about 4.7 million, just short of that. We expect to expend 4.4 million, which will leave us with an excess of $296,000. I will go through what is in those $4.4 million of expenditures. Broadly, 81% of our taxes, or 81% of our budget comes from taxes, most of that property taxes, 80% is property tax, 1% is other kinds of taxes that we get from the state. And our expenditures, our largest expenditure is 49% to public safety, followed by 27% to resident services, which includes beautification of the public areas.
And for clarification, public safety does include fire rescue.
It does include fire rescue and how we build our budget. Historically, the town,
Which is not uncommon in most jurisdictions, right?
Correct.
40%,
Correct.
40 to 50%.
correct, and it's, we broke that out for public safety, but it is also in, it's under general government, and I'm gonna show you some of that as we go through. And that, I'll get to that as I get there. So as you can see, as our revenues have gone up, of course, our expenses have gone up, just like over the years, your household expenses go up, the cost to keep town hall and the operations going has gone up. You can see there were some years where there were significant savings. We expect that in this current fiscal year, but this bar graph is just a broad overview. So within the county, we're a little higher than the middle on our millage rate, but I think it's important when you talk to your neighbors about this, that for one, our millage rate has stayed the same over the last 5 years, which is 5.56. And also, unlike our other surrounding communities such as Jupiter or Juno Beach, who have significantly lower millage rates, we don't have condominiums, so that we don't have high density, and we don't have commercial.
And they have other sources of revenue.
And they have other sources of revenue, such as business tax license, all other kinds of fees, water fees, stormwater fees, impact fees for new development. So for us to rely almost on our ad valorem, it's important to understand why our millage rate is where we are. Now, the other side of it is we're not the highest either, and there's some cities that are pretty big on there that have pretty high millage rates. So I think for what we have, we're doing great. I'm gonna play this video. Before you hit play, Jackie, this video was put out by the Florida League of Cities. You do have in front of you a letter we received from one of our state reps today. And a big discussion in the state is going to be about property taxes this coming legislative session. It could lead to something on the ballot. So it's important when we talk about property taxes, we understand what it means. So this is 1 minute and 27 seconds, so we're gonna go through this video.
Most days don't make headlines. Most days, things just work as they should. And across Florida, city by city, they do. Police, firefighters, first responders, clean water, safe streets, new roads. From public parks to public safety. Most of the time, most of our local services just work reliably, visibly, and of course, locally. No one likes taxes, but in Florida, year-round residents pay less and get more than just about anywhere else. Property taxes? About half that of Texas. And tax rates? More than 70% of Florida cities cut them or held them steady since 2020. That's part of the Florida formula. Low taxes, high value, with most decisions made and most dollars spent close to home. But some want to upend that formula, shifting dollars and decisions to distant politicians. That means less accountability, less value. Let's keep taxes low, decisions local, and services reliable. That's the Florida formula. Let's keep it working.
And I'm gonna now illustrate 3 different properties in town without identifying them. That to show you how property taxes are calculated here in town based on location and value. So the first one is, I think.
Most days.
The next slide. There you go. Okay, so this first one is a non-waterfront property. It is valued at $642,000. If it was to sell today, based on what we've seen, it will sell for $4 million. So remember, this is the assessed value and not necessarily the market value. If this was to sell today, this property is homesteaded. So their increase from last year to this year, based on their increase in property value at their homesteaded rate, is only $104 or 3%.
Which is the maximum under law.
Correct. Because it's homesteaded. This property is not homesteaded, is oceanfront, and has a value of about 9.4 million. So if it was to sell today, it would probably sell for about 14 to 15 million.
Which is 75% of the overall value, so what they just.
Yes, yes. And their increase would be $2,600 for the year, or 5%. But what I want to point out, the difference in the bill we just saw, I think their total tax bill is about $12,000. Now, if you look at this one, their total tax bill is $175,000. Of that, only $52,000 is going to the town. So when we hear people talk about their property tax bills, we have to remember a lot of other people get a bite of that apple before we do. And I'll show you an illustration after this next slide. So the next slide is, The next slide is a home that was homesteaded, is not necessarily homesteaded now, sold for a significant amount of money that it would, last year was valued at 14 million and this year is valued at 23 million. So their taxes did increase by $53,000. Their ad valorem taxes for just the town is $133,000. So that is significant. And I show that difference of that between the properties because this is a fair assessment to say I pay a lot in my ad valorem.
Whoever's online, can you please mute your microphone? It is very annoying to everyone here. Thank you.
So when we do hear from someone that they pay over $100,000 in taxes, they do. And it's important to see that. So I want to show the difference and how it impacts different properties in town by location and also how recent the sale was.
But that's also not unique to our town.
It is
That
not
happens
unique.
in every jurisdiction.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when someone does say, I pay almost $500,000 in taxes a year, this person does. But only 30% of that goes to the town. So keep wanting to ask for next slide, forgetting I had. So this is the breakdown, and we've been working with the League of Cities on this communication. 28% of your tax bill goes to Palm Beach County. 34% goes to the school board. 30% goes to the town and 8% goes to special districts such as the Inlet District, the River
Healthcare.
District, the Healthcare District, all of those, yes. So the town only receives 30% of your tax bill. So where is our money going? Where are we taking that 30% bite of the apple and where are we putting it? So I think this year is pretty significant in that we're putting a lot of money back into the town. So in addition to our normal operations of garbage collection, stormwater systems, public safety, fire rescue, town hall operations, it's also gonna go to the installation of the check valves, which helps with our drainage, resurfacing a portion of Lighthouse Drive, continuous public spaces maintenance on the walkways, studies of the drainage at one intersection, as well as augmenting our grant for the Resilience Action Plan, public safety enhancements, and salary adjustments for our police personnel. Part of the budget process is approving the allocation to employees as well as the organization chart. Last year, when I put this presentation together, I had been here, I think, 2.5 weeks, so I did an org chart to kind of reflect the charter change. And I think after a year in reflection here and really taking things in, the org chart that you see in your budget book and on screen really reflects where we need to go. As of right now, we're not necessarily making any changes, but it's important that we start succession planning, identifying the needs of our departments, and grow the second string so we have that stability and cross-training across the town. We're too small of an operation for one person to know everything. A lot of this has taken place on the town hall side over the last year. That's why Jackie was easy to transition into the clerk, a very important position, because she was paying attention to what was going on when we had that change. And we want to start doing that on our police side. We also want to build out our org chart by putting in different positions and allow for growth down the line. So just diving into the budget for each different department. The town commission, we broke this out last year. It is broken out again this year. This includes money for the social committee and their work, as well as any other special events and any conference or training or travel that the commission chooses to do. Under administration expenses, some of the things that are included in this include the town attorney, an architectural study of town hall, like we discussed, of the finance consultant and the annual audit, our payroll services. You can see we've significantly decreased that cost by leaving ADP this year, and we have a much better system. Waste management is also in this section, as well as IT support. Continuing on in administration, we have budgeted for municipal elections because we have an election coming up this year. So there's 20,000 put in there should we have an election. This is the IT server upgrades that we talked about, as well as the golf cart are in this section. Moving on to public safety, some of the highlights include, you'll see at the top where it says overtime. I'm sorry, you see Gelona and Beach Club. Those are offset by revenue in the revenue side of the budget because we do get fees back from that. The 45,000 you see halfway down for dispatch is what we pay to Palm Beach Gardens for their dispatch. Continuing on in public safety, some of the highlights in these, especially when it comes to operating and capital outlay, include updates to the laptops and the computers, cameras, more cameras throughout town, the drone and the generator, which could be offset by grants. That's the only way we'll get them based on our discussions with you. Department issued weapons, as well as fire rescue is on the screen here. I do want to address that. This is a, I believe last year, like when I did administration, it was 3 slides. One of the things Yvonne has been doing is working on our chart of accounts and bringing it down so it's more manageable. That allows for more transparency, better bookkeeping, and everything. So things are starting to move, and mid-year, they're gonna move again, and they're gonna keep moving until we get them right where we need them to be.
Easier to audit.
It is very easier to audit. And I'll talk a little bit about that during my town manager report as well. Moving on to building and zoning expenses. As we discussed before, we have a carve out of some of the town hall side of, salary expenses over here that can be paid directly from building permit fees. We've split out the town planner for building permit review. Again, that helps us with the accounting of where the money's coming from. Building permit and inspections are here, as well as engineering and our code enforcement magistrate over in Sequesta.
And I'm sorry, you're going to take it as a priority on last budget shop to account for your time and other staff time relative to building permit processing. Because we thought that percentage seemed low.
Yes,
Okay.
something that actually, I haven't even told Yvonne this, we got an email regarding something else today that I'll talk about at the next meeting. And so they reconcile our building permit, so we'll also look to see what part of their fee might be able, we have to look into the statute to see. So we're gonna look at every corner where we're doing building permit work.
You were talking about starting that in January, trying to do that calculation, then
Yeah, that was the recommendation. I like that you all made. Yeah, I think that's a good time. And if we see a pickup in, November, we'll do it, throughout the year whenever we see it happening. Right now, I can tell you the last month, I don't even think we broke $2,000 in fees. That's how slow it is this month because everyone's gone, right? We have a couple of ACs being repaired and that's it. So moving through resident public services again, some of the highlights in here include that supplement to the grant, the resiliency grant, the beach survey, Lighthouse Drive. We're budgeting $150,000 this year and plan to do $150,000 next year. The check valves and the gutter repairs are all in this section. So this is something new this year. It's actually something the vice mayor has continuously challenged me on, and I've stepped up to his challenge on this. And this is a capital improvement program that is true and reflective of what we really need. The first column is this year, so that's everything that's true and in the budget. And then the second column, we kind of start projecting what we know we're gonna do. And as you can see, it looks like we're gonna spend a lot less money in 5 years, but as we keep going through the years, we'll be adding on to it. For example, today, the IT consultants told me in about 5 years, I'm gonna need another $6,000 for laptops. So we'll start plugging that in as we go. It helps all of us plan the budget better, especially when it comes to building our reserves and our millage rate. And then the last chart I have is our debt service, which you all are familiar with. We have our payment for the underground utilities all the way to the right. The last two columns on the right are this year's payments. Should that loan be called in early, we will be able to accommodate the extra $220,000 in this year's budget through the excess. And it would be a bridge loan until we get the assessment back in next fall. So if that can be accommodated, everything is paid from the assessment that you see on the screen now. So next steps, tomorrow we'll send an advertisement for the final budget hearing announcing the millage rate to the newspaper. On Monday on the 15th at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, we'll have our second and final budget hearing. And as I mentioned before, we need to notify the property appraiser and tax collector by September 30th. And October 1st is our new fiscal year. So Yvonne and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, I'll turn to the commission with questions first, and then we'll open it up to the public and those folks that are online. So Dave, you want to start with the question? I mean, this is our third meeting, so no questions from you. Sharon, any questions that you'd like to ask? Seeking clarification on the proposed budget?
I just want to know.
Please use the microphone. Thank you.
In this budget, is it the 600,000 in uncollected permit fees? Is that reflected?
Those fees don't exist. That was already settled by the Commission on Ethics. Those are not outstanding fees. The town attorney can talk about what laws were in place at the time if need be, but those fees are not outstanding.
Okay. And then secondly, has there been any provision for recovering the money from the houses on Ocean that received a special sand assessment?
No, I have not received direction from the commission to move forward with that.
And then thirdly, has there been any work done on creating assessment for all the houses on Ocean for beach resiliency and storm protection, as well as building a seawall?
No, ma'am, there's been no action or direction given by the commission yet.
Okay, I would like to suggest that such action should be taken, and these items should be carefully followed up on.
Thank you.
No.
Okay, seeing no further questions or comments from the commission, I will open it up to the public. Are there any questions regarding the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget? Seeing none here in the building, are there any online?
No.
Seeing,
Maybe your favorite guy. Chip, you went on camera. No,
okay.
no,
All right, so I'm gonna close the public comment section for consideration. I'd be looking for a motion. Is there a suggested motion on the budget? I didn't see it.
yes, so if you can, read.
Motion to
point
approve
C.
the tentative millage rate
Yeah.
5.56.0 or per 1,000 of taxable value for fiscal year 2025.
Okay, there's a motion made, and is there a second? Second, seeing there's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? She raised her hand opposing?
Yes,
Okay, so for the record, Commissioner Seagram has opposed. And I see there's a second vote, or a second vote that is needed. Is there a maker of the motion?
To approve the tentative estimates of revenue and expenses for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026.
Okay, there's a motion made. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, again, for the record, Commissioner Seagram has opposed. It looks like we are, and we have one more
You
wrap up.
need to, if you. can
Oh,
read
the announcement. Okay, I'll read the announcement. The proposed millage rate of 5.56 mils is greater than the rollback rate of 5.1816 mils by 7.3%. The final budget hearing for the fiscal year 2025-2026 will take place Monday, September 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall at 50 Colony Road. Look forward to seeing everyone there. Do I have a motion for adjournment? I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Sharon, you're not opposed to that one, are you?
And if everyone online can hang on for 4 minutes, we'll reconvene.
Thank you. regular meeting of the town of Huber, Colony, regular commission meeting.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Indivisible.
I was there 6 o'clock. That was the agenda from 6:30.
Let the record reflect that
So here, wait a minute.
Shannon is not here, everybody else is.
I'll get it.
Let's start off with a presentation by Daniel Anderson of Baldwin and Jenkins of the annual financial report for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024. I understand this audit was like a walk in the park.
Piece of cake. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. As mentioned, my name is Daniel Anderson, I'm the audit partner with Baldwin Jenkins, who have ultimate responsibility for the town's 2024 fiscal year end audit. I've got a brief presentation for you here this evening to go over our required communications and the audit results. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that you guys have about the audited financial statements or the audit process as well. To start out, Baldwin Jenkins is your independent auditor, but we are a large regional audit organization with offices throughout the Southeast. Your audit was performed from our Bradenton, Florida office location. Our firm has made the governmental niche an area of emphasis, but within the firm, serving over 725 governmental entities throughout that footprint. The audit team that you had spends 100% of our time serving governmental entities, so very comfortable with performing governmental audits on a regular basis. We perform an audit to issue our opinion on the fairness of the presentation of the financial statements. We have issued an unmodified opinion, which is the highest form of assurance that we can render. We did perform our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, as well as government auditing standards to support that opinion. The financial statements ultimately are the responsibility of management. We design and perform our procedures in response to that to ensure that those financial statements are free of material mistake. Going through some of the required communications in accordance with governmental auditing standards, like the financial statements, the accounting policies set forth in note 1 to the financial statements are the responsibility of management as well. We evaluated those policies in accordance with the standards and determined them to be appropriate. The financial statements do include several accounting estimates, which we have audited as well. The most significant estimates that you have are the fair value of your investments, as well as the depreciation on your capital assets. Our audit procedures determined that those were all reasonably estimated in accordance with the guidance appropriately as well. We did evaluate the financial footnote disclosures as well to ensure that they were in compliance with all the required governmental accounting and auditing standards. No issues noted within the financial statement footnotes. We had no significant difficulties in working with management throughout the audit process. All audit adjustments were posted by management to the town's accounting records. We had no uncorrected misstatements where we proposed an audit adjustment and management elected not to post it. We had no disagreements with management over the application of any accounting policies or procedures. At the conclusion of our audit, we did obtain written representation from management over the information provided to us. We are not aware of management's consultations with other accountants, or what we refer to as opinion shopping. And Baldwin Jenkins is independent with respect to the town and able to perform your audit. If you review the financial statements in the back of the document, we do issue a report on our test of controls and compliance with respect to significant laws, rules, and regulations. This is a negative assurance report, so we're not providing an opinion. We just identify findings if they were noted. We do have one finding that was issued in performance of the audit. I don't think this is going to be a surprise to you. Really, in the planning of our audit process, management told us that the town had a forensic audit that was performed that had results that were presented as well. So we just performed some additional auditing procedures, kind of surrounding some additional controls in transactions related to the areas of emphasis from that forensic audit. What we identified was, we tried to select some purchasing card statements to review transactions to ensure that they were appropriately authorized and accounted for. The town was unable to provide the April 2024 purchasing card statements and supporting documentation. So that month was excluded from our population on the transactions that were tested. In reviewing the transactions that we did select, we selected 25 purchasing card transactions throughout the rest of the year, and noted that 25 of the 25 transactions didn't have documentation of an independent review and approval for that transaction. For review of the purchasing card agreement, it was determined that there were 2 individuals that were card holders that were not listed as approved card holders in accordance with the town policies and procedures. And then really just to piggyback off of the forensic audit, we did note. There was an individual in which a payroll had been processed that wasn't appropriately processed in accordance with the normal payroll process. We did perform some additional testing on various other payrolls and didn't note any instances of non-compliance. However, we did just kind of want to reiterate the results of that forensic audit within our finding as well. I think the good news is the town was really on the head, in front of this, and by the time we were performing our procedures, new procedures had already been implemented and established to ensure that these things don't happen again. I know you have a new independent CPA. They've got a very thorough internal control process that they're utilizing. We talked about changing the TPA for who's processing the payroll to make that process easier as well. So while these are never good findings to hear, the town had already kind of implemented those, as we performed the 2024 fiscal year end audit. Outside of the findings that were within the financial statements, we did have 2 recommendations that are just communicated to governance, so you won't find those in the financial statements. During the audit process, we evaluated a sample of journal entries that were prepared to ensure that they were properly coded, properly supported, and properly approved. Based on our testing, 25 of the 25 journal entries tested did not have documentation of an independent review and approval. Doesn't mean that they were improper, we just can't see documentation to verify that a control was in place. Additionally, to help solidify our understanding of the town's internal controls, we performed certain walkthrough procedures to help walk through those internal control processes to ensure the controls are properly designed and in place. We selected several transactions from September of 2024, and due to the turnover at the third-party CPA, we weren't able to get supporting documentation for those controls being in place, so we had to select a different month. We selected April of 2024 and did note that there were reviews and approvals for the transactions selected there. Again, both instances where there's already a corrective action plan in place, prior to really us performing our audit procedures, we're just getting those to do. The last thing that I just want to communicate is just upcoming GASB pronouncements. There is one fairly significant pronouncement that's going to be implemented in the 2025 fiscal year related to compensated absences. So you might see a change in how that liability is recorded for 2025. And we'll certainly talk to management about how they're working on implementing that process and answer any questions that they have to help them prepare for the 2025 audit. So that's the presentation that I have. Again, really happy to be able to serve as your auditors on an annual basis, and happy to answer any questions that you have about the financial statements, the audit process, or anything that I went over here in this presentation.
Thank you. I'll turn to the commission first. Does any of the commissioners, do you have anything? I saw you had a lot of handwritten notes. Good though. You're good? Yeah. Okay. Sharon, any questions?
No question. Thank you.
This is your first year of performance audit for us?
No.
How many years?
We probably 4 or 5 years.
This is year 4, they have 1 more in their
Okay.
agreement.
Thank you. I have nothing. Does anyone, I'll open it to the public since it's an audit. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. The town manager, have anything she'd like to report?
I'd like to go through I have a few notes I want to highlight. Town hall operations have returned to normal for Friday. We really thank the commission for allowing us some abbreviated Friday hours during the summer. It really helped us out with the amount of work we were doing. As we mentioned, the email migration will take place on Wednesday evening. That means most likely town hall will not receive, or the police department receive emails until Thursday afternoon. So just so everyone's aware of that, which also means you won't hear from us until Thursday afternoon. On Friday, I'm hosting a roundtable with the beachfront property owners and Loggerhead to discuss some concerns from the beachfront property owners, and give Loggerhead an opportunity to talk one-on-one with them. As you know, I attended the Florida League of Cities conference last month. Property taxes was a big issue. I'd like to meet with the commission one-on-one and start to identify a legislative champion, because I think it's important that we get in front of our delegation as soon as possible. The Northwest Walkway should start construction within the next 2 weeks. They are ramping up with permitting and other issues. I'm gonna be out of the office September 26th through October 7th for my annual vacation. I will be, in the US and Canada, so I should be reachable by phone and, email should anything come up. Regarding the financials, you can see we continue to trend well on our financials. 2 little notes I want to give. One is, in addition to this audit and the forensic audit, in 2019, the Palm Beach County Office of Inspector General audited the town for, some financial practices. It was a random audit. The town failed at it, miserably. And the town's response was, there's nothing wrong here and
Don't look here, look.
don't look here. And the OIG basically closed it out with non-compliance, understanding that the town took full responsibility for any actions that could happen as a result of not complying. As you know, I've been working very closely with the OIG as they've been addressing some other issues. And they asked me last week to give them an update on the 2019 audit. And I knew that Yvonne and I had been working towards it. And so I wrote to them, I said, my plan was by the end of this year to give you an official letter and we will have met everything. And that includes the charts of accounts, all of those things. And the payroll, the checks and balances, the reconciling of the monthly statements. And as I went through the list, it looked like we pretty much have achieved everything. And I'm very pleased to say that. The correspondence I got this morning from them was to give them samples of a couple things. And I think we are well on our way of having the 2019 audit closed out, which helps with our integrity as we ask them to look into serious issues that have impacted the town. And as I was doing that, that brings me to the second point. I had to pull some of our investment statements just to show them that we've been properly investing our money or more smarter, investing. So since December, when we moved we moved some money to our operating account at Synovus, we've made $21,000 in interest. Since May, when we moved a smaller amount to our reserves than that, we made $1,400 in interest. So that was one of the findings, is that we were not maximizing our excess funds. And in this short period, we've been able to capture some significant interest, which will again help us build our reserves and help the town. And that's the end of my report. I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
No, I don't have a question, but I agree. I think in the 14, 13 months that you've been here and others, clearly the improvement from a financial reporting and controls has drastically changed from the prior administration and the holes that we are with the mismanagement of funds. It was a wreck, it was a mess, and this commission and others have worked hard along with you taking the lead in getting that all cleaned up. I, for one, am very pleased with where we're at. And unfortunately, there's some folks in this community that want to continue to, think otherwise, but I don't think the town has been on a firmer financial footing than it ever has. So well done to you and others that have participated in that effort. So thank you.
Thank you. You all have made the hard decisions with some of my recommendations, and I appreciate the trust.
Okay, town clerk, any report?
She does. First and foremost, as of September 3rd, Jackie has officially become the town clerk. And she is working towards her certification. There's a lot of hours that go into that, and she is using her lunch breaks to take a lot of online courses that are required.
Congratulations.
And we're happy to have her.
This year is an election year for seats 2 and 4. Qualifying begins in November. If you have any questions or need any information, you can come to me or Heidi. And also, if you have coconuts still on your tree, you can get those trimmed with hurricane season being at its height. That's it.
Who's 2 and 4? Just remind everybody.
Seats two.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yes.
Okay, just wanna make sure. Chief, do you wanna say a few words?
Yes. Good evening. As usual, I'd like to start off by reporting the number of patrols that we had over the past month. And that was 9,544 for the month. But this past weekend, we had a vehicle stolen from our community. It was a vehicle that left a key fob in the cars as well as the other one in their driveway. You know, much to our dismay, as much as we've acknowledged, the rest of the community has really been at the forefront of securing their property with their key fobs and keeping their garages closed and their doors to their residence closed. This is just one time that it didn't happen, and we're going to continue to try to educate the community. In addition to, Heidi's going to put out an announcement tomorrow, letting the community know about this event. We are actively investigating it. We do have it very solidly working with other jurisdictions in the area that have also been victimized, likely by this same group. In addition, two sergeants and I are going to walk the community one evening this week. And for those who may not see the announcement that the town's going to put out, but we're going to make sure everybody knows and ask them, you know, please help us. This is one area where working together is so important when it comes to crime prevention. We're also looking at, I guess 2 years ago, the commission acknowledged that they wanted a second person out in the evenings to help be able to spot this kind of activity, you know, one working more towards the front of the community, the other one patrolling, and they shift off. Sergeant Cummings is our operations supervisor, and he has been looking at our patrols and where people are spending their time and all. And, you know, we are looking at probably adjusting our hours. That second person, the overlap, is working till 2:30 in the morning, and we're going to move that much later. So, you know, I think our criminals, you know, kind of get an idea of how everybody operates by coming through the community, looking around. Who knows how often they've been coming in and out. Our system that I wanted to put in place to have our residents register their vehicles so that we know if these cars come in late at night, which is amazing the number that do come in and out during the night. You know, some of them are Uber drivers coming, dropping people off. Some of them are picking them up to get them to the airport or bringing them from the airport. But this at least gets us be able to spot who it is that's coming in that aren't residents, that we can watch what they're doing and guarantee that they're not, you know, parking somewhere, getting out and walking to the community and looking for a victim. And I mean, we're all capable of forgetting to grab our key fob out of the vehicle. And it happens to be that one night where you've, you know, when you got in the car, you put it in the drink cup. And when you got out, you went in the house, you forgot to grab it. Didn't think about it, you're in a hurry, you're late for dinner or whatever it is that happens to all of us. We want to make sure that not only we out there keeping an eye on everything and moving around and seeing what's. Unfortunately, Kim was by herself at that time in the morning. She had actually did a couple things on the same street where this occurred a little bit earlier. It gotten out, we had some vehicles parked partially in the street, blocking roadways. She took action, had them moved and stuff. So it's not like we're not out there doing it. It's just these people look for target-rich environments like we are. Admiral's Cove has had several vehicles stolen over the past year. as much as they have infrared on their walls and all that kind of activity happens. Somebody gets in there, they just drive one out unsuspected. Trump National. Several of the other communities, Waxahachie Club, they've had their gates rammed, people getting out. So unfortunately, over the last couple of years, we've been lucky, but this is one time that we didn't. And we will continue to be vigilant. We appreciate your support. You all have been great in helping us be able to provide the best for our community. You know, we've made our vehicles highly visible so that the criminals who do try to come in at least see us out there and know what's happening. But if you all have any questions or recommendations or anything, I'd be glad to hear. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Chief, do we have any idea when our license plate reader system is gonna be potentially up and running?
We are constantly working on it, you know. Our town manager has really come up with the funding to get this system. It was a wreck when she got here. It's been an uphill battle all the way. We're much closer right now. And I think we're close enough now where we can put out requests for everybody in the community to give us that information about their vehicles, and the tag number, you know, things like that, that whenever this does get rectified, that our computer system is viable, that it's dependable. Right now, it's not. But I think we're much closer than we've ever been before. Sergeant Beckman has been working with our providers out there, our computer people that are working with the town that Heidi and I talk to quite frequently. So I think we're getting close. I'd love to be able to give you a date, like, okay, it's October 1st, you know.
Well, just tell me that money is not standing away.
No, it's not. There's a technological conflict between basically the not the mail routing, the server, the protection server, Barracuda, that our former IT consultant was using. And it was not the highest and best that was out there. So we are currently transitioning to a new one. And in fact, Sergeant Beckman paid for the new server. It's not the camera software, it's the server that it's housed on. Yeah, so those invoices went through today and we're gonna go with what we need.
So do we have an ETA on when that server will be delivered?
As quickly as it can be.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of IT definite answer, because everybody knows IT. But
We'll make this a priority to keep you informed every step of the way.
and it is a priority requirement. Team.
Thank you.
It's been very disheartening for us how long it's taken, because we had it and you know, they guarantee you how much it's gonna work for us. Just getting the rest of this computer system.
Thank you. Any other questions of the chief? Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the efforts, guys. Town attorney, have anything? No report. Thank you. Commission reports, Commissioner Seagram, do you have anything you would like to talk about?
No, I already mentioned
The three
the items. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor? Okay, nothing from me. So is there any public comments tonight?
Yes. Mr. Block.
Chip, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me? I'd like to read a statement into the record. This is the third meeting where a commissioner has mentioned the so-called uncollected building fees, even though she's been told multiple times that that uncollected building fees do not exist. So I'm asking that the statement I'm about to read go into the record of the meeting. It's entitled Refutation of the False Claim of Uncollected Building Fees. A commissioner's claim of uncollected building fees at the close of the commission meeting, August 25th, 2025, is based on false and misleading information. I was mayor from June through December 2023. In my second monthly report, July 10th, 2023, read at the commission meeting and published on the JIC website, I wrote, I have discovered that some processes and programs that should be in place are not, with real risks to our town. For example, we have had lax enforcement of collection of building fees, which are essential to the town's finances, since building is the primary business of the town and outside of public safety, our largest expense. Some fees have not been collected on time and some not equitably. I then set about a rigorous program to collect delinquent fees. Indeed, we collected enough during the July through September 23 to come very close to our budgeted revenue for fiscal year 22-23. Part of our fee structure was, quote, renewal fees, end quote, which served to incentivize builders to finish construction in a timely manner. While engaged in collecting these renewal fees, I was alerted to a Florida statute that provided relief to contractors from paying those fees while a statewide state of emergency exists in the jurisdiction. During the period in question, 2 such statewide states of emergency declarations were in effect in Palm Beach County and the state. Based on legal counsel, the town stopped insisting on payment, although the town accepted payment when offered by contractors. I met with Earl Fisher, chair of the building committee, and he agreed to begin the process of revising our fee structure to accommodate the Florida statute. The revision process was completed and a new structure was passed under Mayor Hocevar. While mayor, I chose to move the town forward rather than expose the prior administration and town staff for misdeeds and incompetence. Instead, I initiated the process to revise the town charter that would shift the town from volunteer management and allow the town to hire a town manager to run the government in a professional manner and to ensure that we are meeting all of our legal obligations as a municipality. It is unfortunate that a false proposition that has been promoted by former employees and others has been presented to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? I would just note, not only prior administration, but prior elected officials too, for that matter, Chip.
May I comment, please? This was presented to me as being valid.
By whom?
A former employee when they were still
What was
employed here,
Who was that employee?
Kathy Cornelius. So I'm sorry, I thought it was something that was overlooked, and I was very grateful to be able to uncover $600,000 worth of permit fees that could possibly be collected. So forgive me for trying to collect $600,000 for these permit fees. And forgive me for asking that the houses on Ocean contribute to some sort of storm assessment and replenish the $500,000 that we spent on rescuing those houses. And forgive me for asking the houses on Ocean for an additional assessment and also for requiring them to build a seawall in trying to protect our town and to raise the appropriate funds. If that's the wrong thing to do, please forgive me.
Okay, looking for a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-1.
So, Madam Town Manager, I guess you're looking for a vote authorizing yourself to cancel agreement with the combined insurance and enter into a new agreement with Aflac for employee supplement health, short-term disability and life insurance. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We don't need any public comment on this, right? You're just looking for a general vote.
You can ask for public comment, because it is a vote.
Okay. Any vote on the canceling of the agreement with combined insurance and enter into a new agreement with Aflac for supplemental health, short-term disability and life insurance?
Any public comment? Seeing none, I turn to the commission. Is there a motion?
Just one question. I'm assuming that eliminating the one, moving on the second provides the same benefits for all of our employees and potentially as a savings of the town.
Correct, but only the basic benefits. Right now, we're paying for a little extra. If they would like those type of extra policies, they will be able to do it, and we will do it through payroll deduction.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions from the town manager? Okay, looking, there's a, did we have a motion? Is there a motion? We need a motion.
I move to, I don't know what the proper wording is, but this.
Authorize.
Oh, so I'm sorry. Yeah, I move to authorize the town manager to cancel the agreement with Combined Insurance and enter into an agreement with Aflac for employee supplemental health, short-term disability, and life insurance.
Thank you, Commissioner Shula. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? We can call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed, none, 0. All right, we're looking for another vote authorizing the town manager to enter agreement, enter into a memorandum of understanding with Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County use debris management sites operated by the authority. Is there any public comment on this? See none. Somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County for the use of debris management sites operated by the authority.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes, 0-0. And before we go to the next item, thank you, everyone. I do have this letter in front of me. And with the commission's, I guess, direction to the town manager, I think it's appropriate for you to draft a response. Something along the lines of how, where a small town like us gets 80%, whatever, of our budgeted revenue from ad valorem tax dollars, we would be opposed to such. Any proposal in the Florida legislature would reduce our ability to fund our town, something along those lines.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned, I've been working with the League of Cities on specific data to our town based on our budget, so I will be using that and I will run my statement through the league.
Okay, and you'll supply us a copy. Is there any opposition by any of the commissioners to direct the town manager to draft such letter?
No, but I do have a question. When I read here, he is not our representative, so I would like to CC our representative on that same letter.
Absolutely, and my hope is within the next month to get in front of our representative as well as our state senator. Commissioner Shula and I actually are attending an event in the morning where they're both speaking, so we're gonna try to make some inroads. Yeah, there. This is a priority.
All right,
Thank
great,
you.
Great. Do we have, town manager, do we have who's going first in a town attorney presentation?
As I've gone through this process, I've kept it out alphabetical, so TG would be first,
Okay.
Weiss Serota would be second. They both are here, both firms are here.
Excellent. So, and I think the ground rules were, there was 15 minutes, is that about right? Each
15.
firm, couple question and answer. Okay, great.
Yes, and they've agreed to leave the room during each other's presentation and then come back in while you deliberate.
And, okay, so who's first?
Hi. TG Law. Right?
Thank you.
You want me to do like a clicker?
Yes, here's the clicker and then you're over there. Thank you so much. Yes. And if you get stuck, Jacqueline. Thank you.
Good evening. You think, you hear me?
That makes it better. Let's
Okay.
set us up over there, looking this way.
I know,
You don't
I
have
know,
to.
I know.
I'm gonna get.
You don't need to look at that.
Are you sure?
Me.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Stay in touch.
Or I can stand there.
No, that's fine. Right there's good, just for the folks here.
Just
Okay.
in the mic.
The mic, yeah.
Good evening. My name is Gemma Torsivia. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to consider my firm TG Law to serve Jupiter and the Colony. I come from a family of government attorneys. We have made our reputation here as a family in Palm Beach County, serving local government for many years. My firm is a little unique. So TG Law, we're based in West Palm. We have an office in Orlando as well. We have 3 attorneys in West Palm and then 1.5 attorneys in Orlando to serve our Central Florida clients. We're a little unique in that our attorneys all worked in local government before we were government attorneys. So I was a director of a CRA down in Dade County, and I did economic development as well down in Dade County. Zach Good from the firm was the assistant city manager for the city of Homestead, and Paul Nicoletti with our firm was the city manager and then the city attorney for Stewart. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I will tell you that our ethos is very different than all of the other local government firms in the area. And I love my dad's firm and I think they do excellent work, but our approach is different. We're a much more service-oriented firm. We have worked our entire careers with elected officials and with community members, and we know that our job is to make you look good and to solve all of the problems that you and your citizens have. And so because we did the work of running governments before we did the work of serving as attorneys for governments, the way we approach problems is very different. We work with staff in a much more collaborative manner. We spend a lot more time working with them at the front to prevent problems. And so the way that we come to the work is just very different. We are wildly accessible. You can get us on the phone anytime, 24 hours a day, text, email, call. We just have a very service-oriented mindset. We all are very committed to the work of local government. And we all do this because we truly believe that local government is what makes an impact, a positive impact in the lives of citizens. And that's why we do what we do, and that's why we love what we do. So our approach is just very different. I am a native of Palm Beach County. I grew up here. I was born in Boynton. I went to Dreyfus School of the Arts and then University of Florida. And then I lived in Dade County for a number of years. I got my MBA and JD from FIU down in Miami. Zach also got his JD down in FIU. So as I was talking a little bit about my background in government, that work just does really inform the work that we do and the way that we sort of approach this work. So Zach is definitely our specialist in land use and zoning. That's the deep knowledge that he brings to the work. And certainly the knowledge that I have of this local community is significant as well. Paul Nicoletti with our firm is an incredible attorney that we feel lucky to get to work with. He retired after almost 33 years in the Army as a colonel, and he served as a JAG officer and was deployed twice during that time as a JAG officer. He also worked in local government, both as a city manager and a city attorney all throughout Palm Beach County. He currently serves as a special magistrate for Lake Park, Stewart, Martin County, and did I say Stewart? Martin County and Lake Park, and 2 other cities. So we are local folks who know this community well and have lived and worked here for our whole careers. And the way that we come to the work is just unique. We will be your partners and your staff's partners in this work. And we believe that the approach that we bring just provides solutions. So we are a firm that is, I would say, creative beyond probably any other local government firm because we all worked in government. So we know the problems you face. We know the problems that residents have. We know the problems that you have as a coastal community that are unique to you. And your commitment to service and quality of life is unique in Palm Beach County. I would say it's the highest standard in the county. And we have just a real deep understanding of that. And so we will come to you with solutions to problems that other firms just don't have because we understand just how government works and how to get things done. We do represent governments in Palm Beach County and then throughout the state. So in Palm Beach County, we represent Belle Glade. In Martin County, we are the town attorney for Ocean Breeze, which is a small coastal community as well. And then we serve as the city attorney for Deltona up in Volusia County, and we're the county attorney for Okeechobee County. So the experience that we bring is it's a pretty good breadth of experience. We understand the interactions between cities and counties and towns and counties and how important it is for those relationships to be collaborative and positive. We are a team that we get it done. We keep our clients happy.
And again, I come from a family of attorneys who are blessed to have clients that they've been their attorney for 30 years, and that's very much our goal as a firm. We want to build relationships with our clients that last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That's our goal. And the way we do that is just by providing that just top level service consistently and reliably. We do all the work that a town attorney would be required to do. We are very good, effective communicators. We have experience, as I said, working with counties, but we also experience working with special districts and CRAs, business improvement districts. I bring particular experience with creative financing, so I have a lot of experience doing large scale capital projects with complex capital stacks. I have experience using new market tax credits as gap financing for large projects. And so I have experience doing P3s and financing P3s using a mix of state, federal, county, and local dollars. And doing revenue bonds and sort of being creative about how to get big projects done for government. So as this town moves into the future and as things like resiliency, become even more imperative as time goes by, that type of experience building and financing complicated projects, I think is something that would be a benefit to this town. We will attend all of your meetings that you have and represent you. I would be your primary attorney. Zach Good would be your primary land use attorney. And Paul Nicoletti, he's really a utility player. He's a specialist in a lot of areas. And, if God forbid one of us was ill, he would cover the main meeting. So but he's just in Stewart right up the road. So that's easy. That's easy for him. We would draft all your ordinances and resolutions, provide legal feedback, memorandums of law as requested, legal opinions. We certainly are familiar with Robert's Rules of Order and are happy to make interpretations at the meetings and answer your questions in advance. We are also certainly very skilled at doing the work of contracting, reviewing drafts and documents. We are very committed to updating contracts and forms every year. So as the Florida statutes evolve and the legislature makes different changes, we are always at the forefront of updating your ordinances, your resolutions, and your contracts to be in compliance. I have a lot of experience doing federal financing and federal projects, and a lot of experience doing projects with the FTA, the Federal Transportation Administration. And because of that, we are super dialed in on the federally required forms and clauses that are required in contracts that involve federal dollars. So we update those forms every year. And we do find that when we come in on communities, those are things that, certainly always need to be updated on an annual basis. So that's something that we do. We would work with your staff to ensure compliance with all laws and regulations. And then obviously work with your team for code compliance and interpreting the code, updating the code as needed, and working with code compliance to address the town's unique needs and concerns. And we know that quality of life is the key here. And we know that the will of this body is the key in effectively bringing code to bear and making sure that the community continues to maintain the high standards that you take to heart. We have a lot of experience working in building, zoning, land use, redevelopment, and we're happy to do all of the work of building and zoning. We all are very familiar with the Florida Building Code with respect as attorneys, and work closely with all the building officials in our communities to ensure that we are always, again, on the cutting of those changes as they come forth, particularly in the terms of resilience. Zach also has a master's degree in marine biology. And so I would say that resilience is an area sort of that we uniquely bring to the work for our coastal clients. With respect to public safety, we would be a collaborative partner with the town's police department, with the chief of police, and certainly provide any insights on anything that would impact public safety, particularly changes that come from the legislature. One of the things that we do is early in my career, I started as a litigator and I still litigate. Sometimes we use outside counsel for specialty issues, but I was just in court in Okeechobee County 2 weeks ago. The county was involved in a complicated land use matter involving right of way and dedication of right of way, and that's a case that I handle myself. So I like to stay active in the courtroom. I think that it helps certainly us look ahead and prevent the town from stumbling into problems, land use problems, labor and employment problems that theoretically could be avoided. So I do quite a bit of our litigation myself, so I can try to stay ahead of the problems. We have a lot of experience working with labor and employment. So as I mentioned, Paul was a city manager and then a city attorney. So he has experience again on both sides of the table, working with employees, personnel, employment matters, and labor matters. And we do stay abreast of all of the changes that come forth. We're very familiar with helping move employees out in a positive and collaborative way, that's beneficial to the town as needed, and try to eliminate challenges that could come to the town and eliminate as much litigation as possible.
Should have been here 3 years ago.
We obviously have a lot of experience working with public records requests. That's a big part of, unfortunately, all of the work that we do. And then we provide legal opinions as needed, and we're happy to always talk individually with you all. Sometimes we provide written opinions as requested, but a lot of our commissioners, I mean, I was on the phone, I don't know, 8 different commissioners today, because there's 2 of our clients had budget meetings today. Just about specific questions about quorum and what happens if they don't pass their budgets, right? So we make ourselves accessible, and we get your answers quick. We're just a service oriented group. That's our sort of final slide. I'm accessible, that's my cell phone, that's Zach's cell phone. Obviously, if we become your attorneys, you'll have calls as well. And then our attorneys in Orlando as well. So, God forbid there's ever an emergency, you'll be able to get a hold of us. But we truly think that your town is a special place. I will say this, we are a firm that's fairly selective. There are a lot of governments that we do not pursue. We do think we're the fit for you, and we think fit is key when you come to this work. You will spend a lot of time with us, and we want you to feel comfortable with us, to feel comfortable asking us questions, and be able to reach us with anything you want to know about an employment issue, a police issue, a code issue, a meeting issue, a public records issue. And we think that relationship truly should be a partnership. So we will make ourselves available to you anytime individually, and certainly obviously to your staff as well. So that's really sort of who we are and what we bring to the work. We did propose sort of 2 alternate pricing structures. One is an hourly approach. Our hourly rate that we're proposed is $2.75 an hour for attorneys, and then a monthly retainer. And I did want to mention that we're happy to start hourly and then switch to a monthly retainer once we see what your bills look like. We actually prefer to do a monthly retainer as much as possible, where it's a flat rate bill for everything except litigation, because it then allows our clients to talk to us as much as they want without worrying about running the bill. So our 2 biggest clients we have on just a monthly flat rate. They can call us as much as they want. And it's proven to be quite effective because it allows us and the staff to really get ahead of a problem and just not be worried about running the bill. So we're happy to do either way. Our smaller clients do still have hourly contracts, but I just wanted to put that out there as something that we would be happy to start hourly if you feel more comfortable, and then pivot once we get a sense of what your monthly volume looks like. I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's us.
Thank you. I'll turn to the commission with any questions you may have.
You led my ethics training this spring as I was a new commissioner, and I just want to say I thought you did a terrific job. And over at on Jupiter Island. I question in looking at our billing, our hours from last year, Heidi, you could maybe help this. So we had about 300 hours from our town attorney, and then we added about 59 hours that were related to employee benefit type thing or employee issues, and then another 16 hours that Gunster was involved in. You might know the answer to this, or Kevin might know, as far as would your firm be able to handle all those things, or will we still need the outside counsel?
I mean, to speak broadly, there's always might be that kind of special issue where you want to bring in an outside person. Just like with the last meeting, it's important for the town attorney to keep an arm's length from certain issues. So there might be times where we would need outside counsel, but I
Bond counsel.
bond counsel would be an
You
example.
need outside, and then in the case of Gunster, that was a specific employee related matter that the previous mayor wanted some additional resources brought to bear. That's not to say that that Bill's firm couldn't have provided that. That was just an added resource at the time.
But I think Bill can answer something.
Yeah, that also was, the former mayor wanted to get Gus Turner involved because he had a good relationship with their employment people. But also the case itself is being defended by the insurance carriers attorney, Michael Python. So it was just sort of an extra step in because it was a messy situation.
So yeah, thank you so much, about your comment about the ethics training. It's great to see you again. And we're happy to do, I would say probably the vast majority of that work. With respect to Insurance Defense Council, that's actually where I started my career. I was in Insurance Defense Council. I represented Jupiter, Town of Palm Beach, a number of special districts, and we actually worked closely with Bill's firm, because they served as general counsel for the special districts, and we were their litigation attorneys. So we're very comfortable supervising insurance defense. We do that for our existing clients. And because I still litigate, I have a pretty good sense of what a litigation strategy should look like that will end in a resolution where the town either is off scot-free or has as little exposure as possible, which is always our goal.
Oh, good. Sharon, do you have any specific questions you'd like to ask?
Thank you.
I have maybe one or more. At some point, obviously, you said that, you know, you've got 3 attorneys, you've got a couple of attorneys in Orlando. We're coming on as a new client. You know, give us some reasonable assurance in terms of your availability. We all have only so much time in the day. You made a reference to 2 clients having budget meetings tonight that you're not at, but you decided to come here, which I understand why. But again, there's only so much time of the day. With a new client, with your existing workload, what does that look like for you? How can you assure this commission that you will have the available bandwidth to provide the necessary services that this town requires?
So that's a great question. And just to be clear, one of the meetings was at 10:30 and one was at 2.
Okay.
So I didn't bail on anyone.
All right.
I will say that September is a tricky month for us, but we are very fortunate in that we have a great team. And budget season in particular, this is a busy month. We all are kept pretty busy. I will say that I guess I feel very lucky because I come from a family of attorneys. So both my parents are attorneys, and my dad obviously has government practice. So I've gotten to see how the right way is to scale a business. I run my business a little differently than him. We have a much leaner operation, and we're much tighter. We have our support staff is all virtual, so they support both our West Palm and our Orlando office intentionally. So our paralegal, our legal assistant, they don't come into an office, which is quite helpful with respect to like workload. We also are very fortunate in that I have a very good network of excellent attorneys that as we grow, and our plan for growth is relatively slow, and you guys probably really would be our I would say crown in our jewel for our current staffing. But if we do end up growing more, we would bring on other attorneys, and candidly, I already have 3 attorneys identified, both in the Orlando market and down here. So if we do bring on new clients, we would bring them on as well. I'm just fortunate, I'm tied into the community. I'm very active in Florida Bar. I'm the chair of the advertising committee for the state. I was in the leadership academy. So I just know attorneys all over the state. I know who I want to hire down the road, but we only commit to cities that we can take on. And candidly, if I couldn't do your meetings, like we checked, I mean, our assistant literally put your whole year of meetings on our calendar before we applied to make sure we didn't have any conflicts. So if I couldn't attend your meetings myself, we wouldn't have applied. There are cities, I mean, candidly, there's 3 cities that we recently passed on because they conflict with our existing clients. And we just won't, we don't think that's appropriate. So if I'm your town attorney, I'm your town attorney, you can get me anytime.
Just one more question then, and that is lobbying and at the state legislative level. Tell us a little bit about any experience you may have doing that or not doing that.
So I will say this, I feel very strongly about home rule and that local government is the best form of government. And that is where the power should be concentrated in the hands of the people and the people that are directly are represented by you all, by the commission. I have experienced lobbying at different levels, although I generally would recommend, if you really want a great lobbyist, to get someone who's a full-time lobbyist. So I have lobbied for clients. There was a period when we talked about bringing on a full-time lobbyist. It just doesn't really make sense for us. We're pretty I mean, we're a local government firm. So if there's a particular issue, particularly at the county, that's an area that I would probably handle myself, but that's just because I have relationships there. With respect to Tallahassee, we probably would recommend that you employ a dedicated, same thing with the federal government. So, you know, we have relationships, but we're not gonna have the same relationships as someone who spends 90% of their time in Tallahassee when session is active. That's just not who we are. So we're very familiar with, we know a lot of good lobbyists, we're very connected with them, and we would likely recommend someone if you needed someone either in Tallahassee or DC. And for local government, for county, I mean, I would probably handle it myself for any issues with any of the special districts, but Tallahassee, I've done it. I do it for some clients. Belgrade in particular really likes when we're present in Tallahassee, and we're happy to do that. And again, I'm tied into the League of Cities, I'm tied into the Florida Bar, so I have a lot of relationships. But I sort of believe that you want a specialist, right? Like you want a dentist, you want a periodontist, right? So for a lobbying, particularly, I think we're going into a pretty critical session. I would likely recommend and happy to help you find someone who is, that's their core business, and we would be happy to support them.
Fair enough, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so
Thank you for
much.
making the
So good to
time.
see you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. That probably longer than.
She was right on with 15. Yeah. We had
No, I
the
thought-
clock going. You guys were about 8 minutes, so
Okay.
we're great.
Where that's, you go for the voting.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good everyone. Well, first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Matt Remenda. This is my law partner, David Tulsis, both from the law firm of Weiss Serota Healthman. First of all, I want to thank you for your time and the opportunity to be here before you tonight. I know we submitted a few weeks ago a pretty comprehensive document with a lot of information in that, and I didn't want to put that up in a PowerPoint or rehash all of that, because I know you've already seen that. But I do want to go over a few things. I really want to talk about 3 things in particular. First, my firm, second, myself, and third, some of the cities, especially in Palm Beach County, that we represent as a firm. Weiss Serota Healthman, the firm. We've been around for almost 35 years now. We're a firm of about 100 lawyers. We represent municipalities and government agencies. That is what we do. That is the firm's primary function, and we're very good at it. The reason I mentioned that we've been around for a long time, almost 35 years, and we have almost 100 lawyers, is because we have a very deep bench. I would be surprised if there was an issue that arose, municipal issue, that someone in the firm hasn't seen before. We have offices in Palm Beach County, which David and I are at, in Broward County, and also down in Dade. And then we also have a sort of a satellite office up in Gainesville and someone over in Tampa. Included in our submittal were the many towns, the cities, the counties, and the government agencies we represent in Palm Beach County, in Broward, and Dade, and really throughout Florida. And whether it's serving as your town attorney or whether we're serving as special counsel for a particular purpose, we handle specific issues such as litigation, code enforcement, municipal prosecutions, land use and zoning issues, labor and employment, eminent domain, along with David and myself, 2 other people who would be on the team. Susan Tregarthen, she handles land use and zoning, and Milton Collins handles labor and employment. So I want to talk about some of the other towns and some of the other cities throughout Palm Beach County that we work. We work with Boca Raton. We work doing litigation and labor and employment for them. We work with Boynton Beach. David is the former city attorney for Boynton Beach. We're also special counsel. We do some litigation for them, some labor and employment.
represent Delray Beach, litigation, labor and employment. We also handle some special issues for them. Currently, we're dealing with a home rule issue, which you may have seen on the news with the crosswalk issue. And the right to you know, deal with your own streets the way you see fit. In the past, I've worked with, I was formerly at Jones Foster here in West Palm Beach. And I worked closely with Tom Baird, who was the town, and is still the town attorney for Jupiter, town attorney for Jupiter Island and for Lake Park. We currently do some litigation for Jupiter, and I keep in very good touch with Tom. And I say that because I know Jupiter and Jupiter Island are neighbors, and it's very easy for me to get in touch with Tom and have communications if there are some issues. Worked with the town of Palm Beach. We do labor, employment, we do litigation. I formerly have handled code enforcement. I formerly worked with the town attorney over there. With Riviera Beach and Royal Palm Beach, we've done labor and employment. Those are sort of a list of the towns and the cities throughout Palm Beach County that we've worked with and that we still work with. Something I do want to note is I recognize that Jupiter Inlet Colony is a smaller community, and it has certain needs and certain things that a smaller community has versus a larger community like a Jupiter or a Delray Beach. In that regard, we've handled those issues and similar, I think, economically similar cities in Indian Creek, in Pinecrest, in Ball Harbor, in Dade, and we've worked with those smaller municipalities and worked with the budget and the budget constraints that there might be. We're also working the firm with Senate Bill 180, which is restrictions on land use regulations. So that's kind of a list of who we've worked with in Palm Beach County, some of the similar municipalities, which I think are the similar municipalities to what Jupiter Inlet Colony is. So let me introduce myself for a little bit. I've been practicing for 21 years. I've handled litigation for municipalities, code enforcement, municipal prosecutions. I've served as town attorney. On a personal level, I live about 10 minutes from here. I live off Donald Ross. My wife's an elementary school teacher. My daughter goes to Jupiter High. She's in 10th grade, which I can't believe. Right off of Military in Indiantown here. And in terms of, you know, something I did notice from reading our opposition's submittal, I saw that their rate was a little bit lower. And I think what I mentioned earlier, and I think it's really helpful in evaluating this, is that, like I said, we have a deep bench, and we have nearly 100 attorneys. And when you add all that up with the experience, it amounts to about 1,000 years of legal experience and municipal experience. And so if I have an issue, I can contact someone at the firm who's dealt with that land use issue, someone who's dealt with that, you know, whatever the issue might be. So while our rate might be $315 versus $275, if it takes me an hour to do something that might take someone else who doesn't have such a deep bench 4 hours, it's actually cheaper that way. I'm gonna let David introduce himself. I know he's not unfamiliar with Jupiter Inlet Colony.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, everyone. David Tolsis with the firm of Weiss Sirota, helping Colin Bierman. I did in fact serve as special magistrate for the town here through Mr. Doney's office, probably about 10 to 15 years ago, dealing with various code enforcement issues. So I'm familiar with your unique location, your unique lifestyle, your unique needs. I can also say that I do represent the Hillsborough Inlet District, and through my representation of the Hillsborough Inlet District, I've become friendly with Joe Chason here at your inlet. And I know the issues that come up between the inlet and the governing bodies that surround it, whether it's grant issues, whether it's sand bypass issues, whether it's just general day-to-day operational issues. I think that, you know, myself and our firm can bring those synergies here to you and your residents. In addition to that, I think it's important that you know that I've been practicing law, municipal law, for about 36 years. Hard to believe. I was raised down in Lighthouse Point, graduated Deerfield Beach High School, and it's you know, wonderful to be able to come here right next to the coast and get to see you know, the special part of Florida where you live. I think our firm, we recognize the importance of the public tax dollars. And that we're not just gonna bill for the sake of billing's sake. We are only going to be billing for work that you have asked us to do. Whether it's you as a counselor, whether it's you as your town manager has been authorized to ask us. Because, you know, and I think that going back to what Matt said with respect to the value of the attorneys that we have working for the firm, that we can typically resolve that issue for you or provide that answer in a shorter period of time, which ultimately results in a savings to the town as well as to the town residents. You know, we're here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. And whichever firm you do choose, you will be making a fine choice. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Anything you wanted to say just to wrap up, or you're good?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Well, I'll turn to the commission. Are there any questions of the gentleman? Sharon?
No.
Well, I feel obligated. I feel
Please.
obligated.
Talk to us a little bit about the work you do for the Hillsborough Inlet District, specifically as it revolves around resiliency. And how you communicate with the neighboring jurisdictions down there like Hillsborough Beach, Pompano Beach. If you could maybe just expound on that. And then I'll say what my second question is, and that is Tallahassee and efforts and lobbying in Tallahassee and what resources the firm has around that. And any specific issues or specific lobbying or expertise you have there. And I'll leave it at that and we'll see if there's any follow-up.
All related to the operation of the inlet district?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been serving as general counsel for the Hillsborough Inlet District since about 2003.
Okay.
And, you know, the Hillsborough Inlet District is comprised of 8 members who are appointed by the 8 different governmental entities that.
They're not elected, like.
They're not elected.
Right.
But they are authorized to impose a millage rate. So it's a unique circumstance. But we provide, for every meeting, we provide the local governments that appoint individuals to our board, a copy of our agenda, copy of our minutes. We continuously respond to questions from citizens, not me personally, but it might be the captain, it might be the board chair. And, you know, through our coastal engineer and through our board, we have worked very diligently over the last 3 or 4 years to request funding from the Department of Environmental Protection through their LGFR process. Up until that time, the district was self-funded. But in light of the fact that we have to go out and perform an inlet management study, because we're in the process of renewing our permit. And one of the conditions of the permit is going to be that the district has to perform its inlet management study, which hasn't been done since 1995. Once we do that inlet management study, then we will come up with an inlet management plan. And we recognize that it may change the way that the district operates. So the board is trying to be as flexible as possible. Now, the one major difference that Hillsborough Inlet has between Jupiter Inlet is that we have our own dredge. We have our own staff. So we perform our own sand bypass dredging on a daily, weekly, locally basis, like Boca. Although we let the sand flow south. Boca likes to keep theirs right offshore. So, but, you know, through working with our coastal engineer, through working with, you know, we're looking at issues related to what can be funded and what can't be funded with respect to district employees and district equipment. But through working with our coastal engineer and DEP, we've been fairly successful in securing the funding through the LGFR process. We haven't specifically gone for any specific funding through the legislature and risked any potential veto or anything like that. So we're in the process, you know, the district, Hillsborough Inlet District's been around since 1957. And we're in the process, and I'll talk as the attorney, but changing the way the district's been operating for the last 50+ years.
By statute, by Florida statute, or by the governing members?
As far as,
Well, you said you're changing the way.
well, with respect to the funding,
Okay.
getting the funding from the state, and then we have to look at what's gonna happen with our inlet management study and our inlet management plan. And sand is very valuable, and, you know, Hillsborough Beach, Pompano Beach, Deerfield Beach, You know, they're all looking for a way to get us to pump our sand to help their beaches the most. And,
Yeah, because I've had
so-
that conversation with them over
Right.
here about pumping north.
We
And then-
understand.
Yeah, and then we also do have issues with people who like to use our beaches that we have to work on during the week. On the weekend, we have the Coast Guard beach, they like to use our equipment to jump off of, so we have those challenges, just like any local government might have. I hope that answers.
Yes,
your
yeah, that
question.
was helpful, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know if it's, who wants to take the lobby in Tallahassee?
Oh, yeah.
As far as lobbying in Tallahassee, I mean, our firm does have relationships with lobbyists. We don't do lobbying ourselves.
Okay.
And it seems lately we've been lobbying on the back end. We handled the Form 6 litigation, which state court said that, you know, the legislature is improper. We're currently looking at Senate Bill 180, whether there should be a challenge to that in light of the, you know, impeachment or infringement on home rule that it presents. So, but certainly if there needs to be any lobbying done, we know the folks in Tallahassee.
Excellent. Thank you. Just one last chance. Any other questions?
No.
No?
Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, so we can bring Gemma back in
You got it. Thanks, Matthew.
and I will. We have her time. So let's have it together. And some of us need to go to town, back up to Orlando. Not me. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it back to the commission. We've had the opportunity to listen from both firms, representatives. And who wants to go first? As mayor, I can get to go last. I'm lucky. Or what your preference is, or if there's additional clarification that you wanna ask, if you wanna ask them to reduce their rates, I mean, anything and everything's on the table. Do you have I guess, you know, you start with a preference, why? Or I'll go ahead and do that.
I can start.
Okay.
I think we have a very distinct choice in firms. In that they both are local, I'll say that. But as far as the breadth and the depth of the bench and their experience, and then the type of experience that Weiss has had versus TG Law, as far as the type of municipalities that.
Can you use the mic?
We're gonna adjust the volume in the back.
Oh, so you're too far away.
Yeah, you're gonna be right.
The type of the municipalities that they've been involved in, is very distinct. So you want me to give my preference now?
If you
or-
feel comfortable, yeah, I mean, I think we need to throw it on the table to figure out.
Yeah.
the direction we're headed.
So my preference, I think they both would do a very good job. I'm very impressed and very appreciative of you taking the time to come out here tonight. And submit, but my preference right now would be for Weiss.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, you wanna? start us
Sure.
off?
I'll jump in. I like both presentations. The synergy that Weiss provides with all your 100 or almost 100 lawyers is very helpful. On the flip side, I really like the TG side of the one-on-one, if you will, the close, family-friendly aspect of the field of working that way, being right at our beck and call, so to speak, with a small firm. So I think my preference would be to go to the TG Law side.
Okay, thank you. Sharon, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I have a preference for Weiss Serota, especially because of their experience with Inlet. I think it's really critical, and thank you for presenting.
Okay, thank you. So we have two general towards Weiss Serota, one towards TG, and I'm gonna come down on the side of Weiss Serota, I think as well, simply
because of the breadth of the service offerings and their expertise related to doing some work here on coastal communities. Jim, I really appreciate your presentation. That's not to say that I don't know how these two guys are gonna do in terms of servicing the commission, so we'll see in 6 months. We may be back at this process, but I hope we're not. So I think when we looking, I guess we need to do a vote.
Yep.
Okay, so would somebody like to make a motion? And is this the formal hiring of a new town attorney? So do we need this is a formal vote?
Yeah, it would be, and I guess you'd want to say when you want them to start, and I don't know, I'll ask the West Florida guys, you usually do an agreement with your towns?
Yes.
They provided it already.
So you'd wanna get it subject to getting an agreement that's acceptable.
Yeah. So whoever's gonna make the motion, make sure we can. We have that caveat, because I have not read that agreement.
So there is an agreement in the backup. We do have the second budget hearing.
Yeah, why don't we
next
do
week,
it, why don't
but
we
we
do it
do
on Monday? Let's get a week to get the agreement get it agreed to in writing, the financial terms and conditions. And termination, all the Ts and Cs kind of buttoned up in a week. We can put it on the agenda for adoption at that budget meeting on Monday. Is that fair?
That's fine, and you probably should call a special meeting just for that.
we can do
It's
that.
the same thing.
Yeah, we'll do
You
it
know,
by.
rather than doing as part of the budget hearing, budget meeting.
So the,
You have
Same night?
special meeting.
No,
Just like
yeah, we can do the same night, yeah, so we can do
Yeah,
6 and
one right after the
6:15.
other.
Does a week give us enough time?
We already have, I think, the boilerplate from
We have
them.
it,
Okay.
we have it.
Yeah, so I'll talk to Matthew tomorrow to see if there's any adjustments he wants to make, and then it will go out with the agenda.
Okay.
And we'll make this special meeting for 6:15 on Monday.
Okay.
start date would be.
Well, whenever the end date.
We'll work
Will
that out.
correspond, yeah.
Yeah, originally it was
So,
thought to be
okay.
in
September 3rd.
September.
Yeah.
So that would be, it's coming up.
Yeah, okay, yeah, perfect.
Mr. Donnie's already agreed to help with the transition, so.
Okay.
Have some overlap.
Excellent. Okay, well then, that being the case, we don't need to move forward tonight with a formal resolution or formal vote. Go ahead and adjourn. I'll look for a mo- there's nothing else, right?
There's nothing else.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, right there.
Perfect.
Yeah, Commissioner, it was so good to meet you.
So.
No, I know.
Hopefully we'll see you next year.
Good to see you, Commissioner. Yeah. All right, I see you too. All right, y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks, Gemma.